Okay, little project I got going on this weekend is I bought this H3 Hummer for like a beach mobile, you know, just to run around and go fishing, surf fishing and stuff like that. I used to do that a lot, and I'd like to start doing that again. And plus I like to go metal detecting on the beach and stuff. So I looked around and it's getting harder and harder to find stuff for these things. I couldn't find a roof rack, so I decided to build my own. So I started yesterday. I made the brackets, and what it is there's some I call it like unistrut that I ran a bolt and a washer through here, and you can see on the other side that, you know, it's bolts up through there. But so I just took plate and cut, you know, just to angle 6 inches at the bottom. At first I had them 6 inches tall, and that was like way too tall. So then I got the piece up there with some C-clamps and looked at the line, and I brought it down this low, and then I notched it out. So this is gonna be the bottom rack, and then I'm gonna cut some 4-inch pieces for the top, and you know, put an upright, and then it's 8'4" long, but I think I'm gonna go 8 foot, so it's gonna stop like 4 inches, and then in the front I'm gonna put a plate at an angle. And then I ordered some dimple dies from Swag Off-Road, so I'm gonna put plate in there and dimple die it, and then of course run my bracing across the bottom and stuff like that. And I'm thinking about putting plate on the whole bottom, but dimple die it, so that way it's not solid, but it's solid enough you can get up there and walk around. But so that's kind of the project of what I got going on. I got all kind of projects going on, so I'm getting ready to notch these out. This is my notcher setup, so I'm gonna notch out some of these pipes, you know, 4 inches, but it's gonna be 4 inches in the throat. So I'll probably cut a bunch of them 5 inches long, and then I'll stick them in there to notch them. So I'll get back with you on a little bit. Okay, I got some of the uprights on there, so it's tacked up. I'm gonna take it off of the vehicle, and then we'll do the rest on jacks. So I think it's gonna look pretty good with those uprights right there like that. Whenever I get it down on the jacks where the 8 foot comes to right here, I'm probably gonna weld another one, and then it's gonna be only 4 inches. So then I'll probably put one coming up at an angle on these, but that's after I get the one here, so I know the spacing will be right. So I'm gonna pull it off of the rack, off of the roof, and set it on some jacks, and then I'm gonna set up the pipe in the bender, and I'm gonna show y'all how I bend pipe. I mean, it's probably not the right way to do it, but it works for me and it gets it close enough. So just it looks straight. Oh yeah, it looks pretty straight. I mean, it's real close. So okay, I'll get back with you in a little bit. Okay guys, I got everything set up. What I have is the JD Square bender, and I got the Harbor Freight power ram, the hydraulic ram with the swag adapter, Swag Off-Road adapter, to make it to where it's hydraulic. It was a hand one. So what I do to do a 90, so like on this piece right here, so I want it to match up back in the center of this brace. So I put it on the ground, and I always measure from outside to in, or outside to outside, so I can run my tape to the ground and come up, and it's 5'2" right there. So what I do is I put a mark from the end down to 5'2", And how I get to know where the bend's gonna be, the way I do it is I put this piece of tubing in here and I just put a square on it. And if it's a 90 right there, after I get done with my bend outside of pipe, because I'm going to the outside of the pipe here, to the outside here. So if I know, if I got it marked there, once I bend it, then I know I'm 5'2" to the back of my bend. So far that's worked pretty good for me. I mean, close enough. I'm not doing nothing precise. I'm not building the space shuttle or nothing like that. So, you know, it works pretty good for me. And then you set your indicator. You got to pull everything tight. Make sure that this is tight, no slack in it. Put your little jam nut on here. I don't like this part of it because on aluminum, you can't do it real tight because it'll gall it or scratch it up. So then you set your to 0, and then you take off. So, all right, well that's it. So let me, I need 2 hands to do this. So let me come back to you after I get it bent. We'll wait till that compressor shuts off, but I always take a 2-foot square and I put it on it to see how my bend is. So you can see that it's kind of overbent. I go to about 93 degrees on the dial. And it made it a little bit overbent. So probably need to go about 92, but with being aluminum, it's real easy. You just stick it on the ground like this, and then you just push out on it. Push out on a little bit. DOM or pipe, it's harder to do that. So, oh, way too much. I think I went the wrong way to begin with. I needed to come in some more. A little bit more. Oh, now I went too much. That damn air compressor is loud. Need to open it up just a little bit more, but let's check our length. Let's see how close we got to 5'2". So like I said, we put it on the ground flat. So we're 5'2" and about 7/16. So it grew just a little bit. Well, it's kind of up on the end there. About 5'2 1/4. So marking the back of the pipe like that, we're within 1/4 of an inch. So to make it tighter, then you could actually go in 1/4 from your mark. So if you want to go, let's see, would you go in? Because it grew. Yeah, so you would go make your 5'2" mark and then go in a quarter and then put the back up against it, and then it'd be just right. So we're gonna try that on the next bin. Okay, I got the top rail on. Not too bad. I'm about to cut the piece, go here, 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 and here. So it's pretty straight. It's hard to tell, hard to see in this camera. I mean, it's got a little, you know, bow to it. The outside's pretty straight. This side here, it looks like it kind of, to me, in that middle brace, it bows out just a little bit. But all in all, I mean, it looks pretty good. So I gotta be real careful when I'm welding it up though. I can't weld on one whole side. I gotta jump around so it don't warp real bad. So, all right, well, I got my notcher set up. I'm getting ready to notch out those pieces that go in the front that I just showed you. So let me get that cut and I'll get back with you. Okay, I'm cutting these braces for the front and these last two on the side. But I just wanted to show y'all, whenever you go to notch, I always cut, like if I need a 4-inch piece from throat to throat, I always cut it 5 inches. So I got a 1/2 inch to cut off. It makes it easier on your hole saw if you're only cutting half out. And then what you do is you make your first cut about a, you know, 1/4 inch in, 1/2 inch in, whatever. But it also depends on what pipe you're using, what size. And then to make sure that your saddles line up, I put another piece like this and look at it. And I make sure it's square. So that way it's in the same plane. Because if you make this saddle and then you don't do that, and it's like this, and you make the other saddle, then when you go to put it in the pipe, of course it's not going to work. So it's the easiest, instead of eyeballing it totally, I just put another piece of pipe in there, and it gets it pretty close, you know what I mean, without putting a level on it and everything. So I just thought I'd share that a little bit, but it's coming together. I'm gonna get those braces in the front cut, and then I'm gonna do my braces that go across, which I have to go in there and I'll have to, you know, grind this weld here. And then this is gonna kind of be like it's gonna be a saddle, but then you cut that ear off. So it's gonna be like a saddle, then you turn it and cut one ear off, and it, you know, will go on there. So it's not the, you know, easiest thing. I could cheat and go beside it, but I just think it would look better if they were in line with each piece there. So, all right, well, I'll get back with you in a little bit. Okay, I got the cross braces in and all the uprights, it's all tacked up. Now I need to start welding it. Put these in here. I messed up and I eyeballed these kind of in the center instead of, I was being lazy, instead of actually measuring it and laying it out to center and from the front making the sides match. So, you know, by eye you can't really see it, but some of the cross members are in a little crooked, you know. So if I would have took time and, you know, laid it out and measured it all, everyone down, it'd probably all, well, I know it all worked out a lot better. So I was gonna cut each individual plate and put it down inside here, but then I'm like, well, if I do that, then it's out of square, then I gotta try to trim it, make it fit. So I'm gonna just go right on top, all the way across them, so you really won't be able to see that anyways. But my problem is, the dimple dies to fit in a press like that, so when they come in, I'm hoping that they have a hole all the way through them, So maybe I can use like an impact and a nut and bolt or something like that, you know, so I'll cut all my holes in there and then I'll dimple die it, you know. But really and truly, I don't even have to put holes in it, being that I'm going on top. I was gonna put holes in it because I was gonna go here just to make it to where it was a little stronger, because there's gonna be no cross bracing. But since I'm going right on top of here, I mean, heck, I think just the 1/8 inch plate is gonna be plenty strong, you know. And then now definitely on the, like the plate that's gonna go here is gonna be solid. And then I wanna mount like a light bar. And then I'm gonna definitely put plate in all these. Now those I will dimple die, you know, and I think that'll look pretty sharp. And then across the back here, I'm gonna put a plate right here in the middle. But I'm gonna leave, I don't know if I'm gonna dimple die this or just put a solid plate. I'll probably just put a solid plate and put a dimple and leave it solid in the middle, because I want to put one of those wireless backup cameras, because that Hummer doesn't have a backup camera. So anyway, so now the trick's gonna be to weld this thing out without drawing it all out of whack. So I'm just gonna have to just go easy, like, you know, weld a little bit here, then go up to that corner, weld a little bit there, then go up to the front, weld a little bit there, and come to the back, flip it over, weld some on the other side. Just keep flip-flopping it, and welding it, you know, weld all this where I coked it out under here and stuff. You know, that's gonna be the trick. You know, I don't want it to bow all out of whack, you know. So, but I mean, worst case scenario, I know that once I get done, if it's out a little bit, I can just slot my holes, or not slot them, but just oversize them a little bit, because on that Hummer, it's like a T-track up there. So, you know, I can kind of slide it, so I got a little bit of adjustment. I just don't want it to get way out of whack. But that's what it's looking like so far, man. I think it's coming along pretty good, you know. I'm gonna make a mount. I'm gonna take the back tire spare mount when I put this plate in here, then I'm gonna mount that, you know, screw it to it, and then set the spare tire back here up on top. So, because I got ideas, I want to make some kind of a cooler rack or something and put it in the spare tire, you know, spot, and with rod holders in the back. So, all right, man. Well, let me get to doing some welding, and I mean, I might show a little bit of that, but it's, you know, I got some other videos of me welding stuff, and it's pretty boring. You fast forward it all anyway, so I'm just kind of showing y'all as I go. You know, like I try to explain the notching, I try to explain the bending, which come to find out, when I showed y'all on that bending, it was actually making it 1/4 inch long. So, like if you wanted the 5'2", I needed to go 5'1 3/4", because it grows 1/4. So I corrected that after that first one that I measured up. So just keep that in mind. There's somebody else on YouTube that I watched, and he has 90s cut out that he's bent, and then he lays that up there and stuff like that, and it gets it pretty accurate, you know, 45s and stuff like that. I mean, I used to do a lot of lean and post, cooler rack, stuff like that, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm kind of lost my touch on it. But it's like anything, the more you do it, the better you critique it, the better you get at it and stuff like that. So, but anyways, well, let me get doing some welding. This is for everybody else, it's probably the part that they love. It's the part that I really don't like. I mean, I welded for a living, so man, I don't like being under that hood for a long time like that, but it is what it is. I like building little projects like this, so it's different. It's different than doing it for a living. So, all right, well, I'll get back with y'all in a little bit. All right, well, I got it all welded out and got it put on there. I still got to put plate up there. That's where a LED light bar is going to go. And then I'm thinking about plating it off in here and putting some on the corners. And I'm gonna put, instead of expanded metal, I'm gonna put punch plate. So it's gonna be a plate on here all the way down it, but it's gonna be it's gonna have 3/4 inch holes in it. So, but that's it right there. I mean, I got to clean it all up, but I'll do that before I send it out to be powder coated. But I have a problem. Being that my bolts are in here, right here, and I made it so low, once I put that plate in there, it's gonna be hard. I can get to these, to the back ones with the wrench because of this right here. But up here, I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm gonna get in there to bolt it and unbolt it. I might have to try to figure out something, just notch it up here with the plate to where I can get something in there to, even then it's gonna be hard because you can't really get a socket in there. So I'm gonna definitely have to figure out something on that. But there it is. Looks pretty good, I think. So what do y'all think? And then of course, like I said, I'm gonna put the plate in here with the dimples, the dimple die holes. Plate here, dimple die holes, dimple die holes. And then the back here will probably be one solid plate, dimple die, and then solid here because I want to put a backup camera. But I still gotta clean it all up and more or less, you know, sand it down and everything before I send it to powder coat. So I called around today to get some prices on getting that plate, 3/16 plate that I'm gonna put on the top. I'm gonna get water jet, get the holes water jet 3/4. So I don't know what that's gonna cost. So that all depends on what it costs. I mean, the plate by itself is pretty expensive. And then we're gonna go from there. And that'll make me decide on what I wanna do. So I'm not real sure what I'm gonna do on that yet. So it warped a little bit whenever I welded it. So, but I mean, it didn't warp enough to where I couldn't get the bolts in there and get the nuts started. So once I got the nuts started, you know, it sucked it on down, and then it'll be good. I'll go ahead and tack in the plate on the sides with it bolted down like that. So that way, that'll stiffen it up to where hopefully it'll take the bend out of it, or the warpage out of it from welding it. So, but there it is. All right, guys. Well, I'll get back with you when I go to working back on it. Like I said, I gotta get that plate, and I'm still waiting on my dimple dies to come in, and then we'll go from there. So everybody take care. Thanks for watching.